Hello and welcome into another episode of the Screaming Eagle, a father-son podcast. I'm Nick Kloss alongside my dad, Eric Kloss, and it has been a doozy of a July 1st. We knew free agency was going to be fun. It always is. What to pick from wasn't that great this year, but we knew the Caps were planning on making moves. They had to make moves just based on the roster layout and the necessities with a forward and a defenseman. But they did a lot that was interesting, surprising, a little shocking, confusing to me. And it's been an interesting day, kind of wondering what's going through Chris Patrick's head. But obviously, the Boone Jenner deal was the big one, 4 years, 5.75. That's the main one that actually comes out to be a really good deal, I think, in my opinion. Vincent Descharnais.
Hey y'all, producer Nick here. We definitely messed that name up the entire time, so just wanted to say it's Desharnais. But yeah, we messed that up. Sorry.
4 years, 16.8 million in total over that. The Boone Jenner one was 5.75 AAV. Total over 4 years for Descharnais is going to be 16.8, so around four per year. And that deal a little more interesting. And then you got Justin Holl on a 1 year, Brodzinski on a 1 year, and Josh Dunn or Dune. I apologize for the pronunciations. We'll get them down eventually. So, Dad, it's just been a weird day, especially because like the Brodzinski done whole news kind of came first. So you're sitting there wondering, hey, what's the plan here? And then you get the right defenseman, the big stay-at-home right defenseman, but maybe overpay him and kind of a guy no one was really thinking about. And then you get Boone Jenner, which is I think a great addition. So what were your takeaways? What are your thoughts from throughout today? Because it's been confusing, to be honest, from my perspective.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the big plays are plays that were in the works. I mean, we had heard some rumors already about Boone Jenner, and I think I mentioned even on the last podcast about Vincent Descharnais.
You did. I will say you sent me him. So this
Right.
is a win for you. You sent me
That's right.
a
Well,
screenshot of
the
his
and the only
numbers and
yeah, and the only reason was because the biggest defenseman on the block was Jacob Trouba. And so you had texted me that
or
Jacob
John
Trouba
or
had,
John Carlson, who's
well, and certainly
was
John Carlson.
unlikely
Well, we
to
know
return.
he's still, yeah, he's still working with Carolina, but I felt like Jacob Trouba was the best defenseman available. Um, and you had texted me that he had gone. So Vincent seemed to be the next one in line. I think, again, they might have overpaid for him. I think they've obviously made a commitment to him for it's a 4 year contract.
Yeah.
So and again, I think I mentioned to you kind of his numbers. I mean, he's was 18 minutes last year with San Jose. He's I think second in hits. He plays on the penalty kill. Obviously got length. He's 6'7", so got length on the penalty kill. So obviously, I think they see enough in him that they think he's the stay at
Well,
home
with
defenseman.
with the contract they give, it's obviously for me because I agree. I think it was a little bit of an overpay. It was an overpay, and but
Mhm.
to me, it's the Caps are seeing something. They see
Right,
something they like that they think is going to help, that they think is going to be part of the next 4 years as this team goes into a new era. So,
right.
and I don't think it's the worst idea in the world. Like, I don't hate the pickup, but going 4 years on a guy who is likely kind of more of a third line talent than a top four talent is just very interesting. Now, like you said, great on the PK, great length, great in defensive zone starts. Um, and then he gives you a lot of size. as you get, into the playoffs with that physicality. Um, but like he's not a puck mover, doesn't have much offense, but I don't think that's a bad thing. Here's the positives of this. You get your stay at home, stay back defenseman that can pair with Chikrin or Hudson to allow them to be free, push
Right.
offense, play their game. We needed a guy that was going to sit back, sit at home, and make the plays we need on the defensive end and keep that end safe. And so
Right.
I think we did that. We went out and got that. I just think that's it's a big, large deal for 4 years,
Right.
16.8 overall. Like that's
Well,
large for a guy that
yeah,
I didn't think was that crazy.
I think the interesting part is I think we would all agree that Roy Liljegren and Descharnay are probably all second line the right defensemen, right? I mean,
We really
no one's
don't have a right defenseman that's the caliber of a first liner. Like,
yeah, certainly not like John Carlson, right?
no.
So I think, but I think the issue is, do they feel confident that when they're playing any of those three with a Jacob Chikrin, a Cole Hudson, or Martin Ferravari, is that a top line, right? I mean, all three of those you could make an argument are certainly first or second line
Yeah.
left defensemen,
Well, for
right?
me also, it's about combos.
Right,
Not
exactly.
necessarily one, two, three. Is he talented to be on what? It's about the combo. How are you going to
Right,
complement the other guy? And when you have a guy
right,
like Chikrin, a guy like Hudson, who are very offensive, very puck moving, they're getting
right,
up, they're getting involved. You want to pair him with someone who's going to be very responsible on the defensive end. And that's why they
right,
gave Hudson Roy, because he's a veteran guy, defensive, can kind of help
right,
him out and
right,
complement him. Now, who
right,
knows? We might see that pairing again. But so I would just say for Cavs fans who are like, this isn't a top four guy, well, think of the combos of
right,
who he can pair with, who we can pair on the defensive end. And that's to me what matters more than just how talented is this guy. Is he, is he a top right defenseman? Because if you want a true first line right defenseman, guess what? You got to pay him. And we
yeah,
don't have that. And we'll get to
right.
our cap space things in a second. But overall, like, I like the signing. I just think it's an interesting call on the amount of money we're giving him.
Right.
Guy that I just like, I'm shocked earned that much.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think so on the Boone Jenner, again, I think when you have a caliber player, he was a captain. I think he was captain at Columbus, wasn't he?
Yep.
A captain or
Hmm.
yeah.
He
So
was.
captain, and so a really good addition to the locker room. The stat I kind of focused on was 52% at the face-off circle. Last year, 54% over his career, which is probably one of the largest, best face-off percentages we've had in quite a while
Yeah.
at that spot. So when
Jay
you think
Beagle,
about sort,
maybe.
when you think of what,
Jay Beagle, maybe.
yeah,
Last
maybe
guy.
Beagle, yeah. But if you think about Sortif and Ilya Protas coming up, being in a position where you have somebody who, when he's on that line at left wing or playing center, whatever, if he's on left wing, he's able to come in on the faceoffs at times. So I
Yeah.
think that's really good. I mean, again, he had a little bit more of a down year from an offensive production perspective, but you're still looking at probably someone who's playing on the third or fourth line
Yeah.
anyways. So
Yeah, no, he's
um,
he's veteran presence. I mean, that's a
right,
huge part of him. And like you said, when you got a former captain coming in, from what
right,
I've heard about Tuck, Kyrou, Jenner, I've just heard they're great people and great guys.
right.
And which is
And
huge.
Boone Jenner played
I mean, look at
Boone Jenner
Alex
and
Tuck. Like Alex
right.
Tuck, he texted Savanto after getting drafted, welcoming to the organization. Tuck hadn't been here a week.
Right.
Like that's just the type of people we're bringing in, and that kind of continues the
Right.
family atmosphere that Ovi's always talked, and just the stand-up guys that we get and we love, and that's why we love the Caps so much. It's a huge reason. So he brings that leadership. He's a guy. yes, he's older. 4 years is a little long, but
34.
he is going to be a veteran guy after Ovi leaves to continue to help these young guys
Yeah,
progress and
come
come up
along.
and have a veteran. Because you think about like
Mhm.
Cole, maybe 20. I think he's 20. Yeah. Cole
Mhm.
20,
Mhm.
Ilya round 20, Leno, I think 22, sort of young in his career, Miro
Right,
young. Obviously, we're gonna talk about it. I have no idea what's happening with those guys. Not Leonard and sort of, but like Miro and Cristal. But
right,
they're gonna need a veteran, a guy, a captain level guy. And
right.
obviously we have Tom, that's the next captain likely, but just another guy to be that older presence that's been around the league. I mean, this guy's been in the league since 2013, 2014.
Yeah, and
He has
remember,
also, wait, he has had a 30 goal season. It was a
yeah.
decade ago, but he does have
Okay, okay.
it.
But the other thing I think I saw too was that before Pierre-Luc Dubois went to the Kings, he was with Columbus.
Hmm.
So Booth Jenner and Pierre-Luc Dubois played as well. And again, that just speaks to kind of bringing a room together, people that are familiar with each other and stuff like that. So I just think that plays into it well. So, again, from my perspective, I think I texted you at some point. This has probably been the greatest, off season I've ever seen for the Capitals. Right?
Most, I don't know. I mean, greatest, I don't know. Just because, like, yeah, I don't know. I'd have to go back and really look at those, but definitely one of the most eventful I can remember.
Right, right,
Like one
right.
of the
No,
most active, eventful. Like this is a retool. By
right,
definition, a retool. This is we want to change so we can up, not rebuild, but up um
right.
our level. And they made a lot of moves, a lot like this is a different hockey team, man. Like this is
Right,
a different hockey team than we had last year and or all of last year.
right.
Because we got a taste of the younger guys tour or a preview over that last couple games. So but it's a very different hockey team.
Well, and these two players, who I think are going to be, definitely regulars, are about 10 million. So, based on those two announcements alone, you look at it and we're okay, we're down in the 4 million range. And then you've got these three done.
And that I want to
Um,
get to them next because that's a
sure.
for me that's a huge head scratcher. Um
Hmm. Right.
but yeah, just to kind of recap with Jenner, I mean, he's 33, 34, so the contract's interesting. He does have some injury history, and he's a very physical player, and sometimes aging as a physical player can be difficult.
Right. Sure.
Just because you're putting your body through so much. He fits this
Right.
roster really well, though.
Yeah.
As a second or
Right.
third line center, really, third or fourth, and that's a great depth center. That's a
Oh, yeah.
great depth
Mhm.
center.
Mhm. Yeah.
Boone
I'm
Jenner's
not
your
worried.
depth center. Like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah. I'm not.
that's
Right.
great.
No,
That's
I
a
mean, down the
that's
middle, I think
fantastic.
we're down the middle, I think we're extremely strong. And you do have to remember, Strome has only got this year and I think next year,
Yeah.
and then he's a UFA. So, again, just factoring that into the equation, because I think Oliver Savanta, we'll talk about him later. We just drafted him this year. I think he may be ready in 2 years to play center,
I could see two.
probably
I
third
could
or
see
fourth line
potentially
center.
2 years. Yeah. That was about what
Um,
Ilya was.
right, right. So, but we'll see about that. But yeah, no, I mean, I think yeah, it's fairly extraordinary to be even in a situation where you're talking about Boone Jenner playing third or fourth line center.
Yeah. No, I think it's great. And like last year, one of the major issues was the inability well, PLD went down and we had no depth at center.
Right.
None. Because the guys who were our bottom centers couldn't play center. Like
Mhm.
Hendricks, Connor wasn't the best. He was better on a wing. We found Sordiff to be a solid center, which was fantastic.
Mhm.
But
Right.
now you look at adding Boone, you got Strom, PLD, Jenner, um, and then Sordiff, and then Ilya Protas. And
Right. Right.
so then you have Sordif, and obviously Sordif was a wing to start last year, so he just can
Mhm.
go back to being a wing. Um, but then, okay, say we do have another injury. Now
Mhm.
we have Sordif to step up with center experience, or Boone
Mhm.
to bump up to second line, because whatever it may be, we have more center depth, which was a
Yeah.
huge problem
Mhm.
last year.
Right.
So it's
Yeah.
repairing a hole.
I would agree.
Um, so now just to kind of get into like the other three signings that were made were very interesting to me. Just because I don't know what Chris Patrick is really thinking at the moment. Obviously, he went out and got the forward and the defenseman that he said he was gonna, but he signs Brodzinski, Dunn, and Hull all the 1 year contracts, all under a million. I think even maybe all under 900,000. Um,
Mhm.
but then you're looking, and it's a logjam at the bottom. Like, is he trying to acquire fourth liners with Duhaime going elsewhere, and getting them for cheap so he can dish Frank or Beauvillier or
Mhm.
someone, and he uses those guys, or does he want to see them in camp and maybe they see us, their scouts see a spark in them, um, and then if not, you waive them. But it's just it's confusing, and then that leaves about, I think it's 2.6 million
Yeah.
available
2.6. Yeah.
based on
Yeah.
Puckpedia, um,
Mhm.
to sign Ovi. But
Right.
people have said, like, um, with, bonuses, because he's over 35, you can get performance bonuses. You can really stack his contract
Right.
that way, so he doesn't have to get paid as much. But like, he's not, you're just not signing Ovi in my for 2 or 2.5. Like, I
Well, I
just
mean,
think I
yeah.
would be so shocked if he took
Right.
that friendly of a deal.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so you got to take him two issues first. I mean, first look at the players that you went after, right? So Joe Hall, not Joe Hall, Justin Hall, Holl, uh, could be a better seventh right now. Okay, obviously Sandin's coming back later in the year, but as a seventh defenseman, should somebody go down,
Well, also
is
Dylan
he?
McElrath isn't anything really that impressive.
Well, that that was my point. So from my perspective, is he an upgrade from Dylan McElrath? And I think Dylan McElrath was signed for this year, but again, I don't know whether they are thinking he's part of that mix, right? Maybe they're going to push him back to Hershey and see if they can go after another Calder Cup, or maybe that has run its course. I don't know, but the only thing I can think of is they thought he could compete for that seventh spot with McElrath and could be a potential upgrade.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're going to ship him or pass him through waivers on his way to
Yeah.
Hershey, right?
What I
And then
do, sorry, go. You go.
go. No, you go ahead.
What I do think could be happening is that exactly what you said. Bring them in, bring them to camp, and see if they're better options than our fourth line guys we have now. Like, see if
Yeah,
they're better options than Miro. If
yeah,
they're a better
yeah.
option than I don't know who. Like I said, I'm kind of confused because I thought we had kind of our 12th. But maybe
Well,
bring them
yeah.
in,
If
see if they compete. Maybe they're the better option, because this is very clearly of let's win this year.
Mhm.
Or like that's what they're trying to do, and then continue to win after Ovi. But this year especially is the go for the cup year if Ovi comes back. So maybe they're just trying to load up on as much talent as they can so they can in camp find the best roster. Um,
Right. Yeah. No, I would agree. I mean, again, if you put Ovi at on the top line, assuming he's here with the left wing, that pushes sort of is you either have sort of playing center with Jenner on the left and Frank on the right, right? Or you have Jenner at center with Sordiff and Frank on the ends. Okay, that pushes Miro, in the 13 spot or something like that. So if I look at the Dunn and then what's the other guy's name?
Brodzinski.
Rodzinski. So I think Rodzinski's the one of the two that I think is probably the more that's going to be competing with Frank. When I look at Rodzinski, he's 6'2", I think 203, something like that. And he's 6 goals, 10 assists in about 50 games last year for the Rangers, I think it was.
Yeah, that's not bad.
And again, fourth line minutes and fourth line production, 6 goals, 10 assists, right? So I think that's kind of what you're looking at is that a bit upgrade from Frank, right? Frank has some positives again with his speed. So, I don't rule out that he's going to end up winning that battle, but it could be that that's part of the
Well, you
equation.
just look at Beauvillier and Frank, and it's like it's 2.75 and 2. Beauvillier at
Right.
2.75, Frank at 2. So if you're like, hey, we'll sign this guy, we think he actually could be better than one of our guys, and
Mhm.
we want to give him a shot, and he's willing to sign for under $1 million.
Right.
Maybe that's the thought process right now. Obviously, it's hard for us to just really see what the plan is here because also like we don't know about Ovi yet, and that's like a whole
Right.
thing where
Right.
we're watching the cap so hard because we're hoping he comes back or we're thinking he comes back, and you need to have the money to pay him too.
Right.
Um,
Right.
so it's interesting, and none from what I see and have read, none of those guys are on two ways.
Right.
They're all one-way deals. So from what I think and my understanding is they will have to go through waivers for us to put them down. So maybe they just kind of see it as there's no risk because they're like, if not, we waive them
Put
and
them on
go
waivers. Right.
elsewhere. If not, or they
Yeah.
go to Hershey. So maybe that's
Mhm.
kind of the mindset here. But yeah, I'm very interested to see what the plan is and how this roster ends up fully shaping out. But to recap just all of these moves. Once again, as I said after the Kyrou deal, after the Tuck deal, the Caps are a better hockey team.
Right.
They have become better. I saw someone on Twitter say some of the dumbest crap I've ever heard in my life of saying like it's over because this deal was done, the Jenner deal was done, that I can't believe I have to watch Descharnais next year. Dumb as hell. Like if you
Mhm.
don't think the Caps are better,
Right.
you don't know what you're talking about. They are better. They're a better hockey team.
Right.
With Boone
I always,
Jenner, with Tuck,
yeah.
with Kyrou, with Descharnais, you can
Right.
argue all you want about the future and how it might look in 3 years. I get that. Totally get that. There are concerns there. But for now, look on the bright side. And that next year, this is a better hockey team that has a chance to do something.
Well, I always and I think we've talked about this before, but I always have felt that the NHL Network tends to be a little bit anti-capitals, or they don't give us a lot of love. And at the end of the day, they were saying that who were the winners, right? And who are the winners? In their estimation, the Capitals and the San Jose Sharks were the winners. So I think that shows a little bit that some good moves were made, and that we definitely are an upgrade. And I think we're going to be able to compete with Carolina for the Metro. If you look at some of the other Metro moves, I haven't seen huge moves from Columbus, New York, Islanders, Flyers. Pittsburgh might be the one that has done maybe the most.
Apparently, John Carlson's talking to Philly too.
Right, right. So I
Because
mean, there's still
Carolina
some stuff.
didn't lock him down before noon, so he's a free
Right,
agent now, so he can sign
right,
anywhere.
right. So there's still some stuff to be done, but I think and I think going back to the other three, you know, uh, Chris Patrick, Chris Patrick.
Yeah, Chris.
Chris Patrick has done enough with this offseason that in my mind, he probably has two things going on. One is potentially maybe he's shopping Bavillier and Frank and Lindgren, and maybe it's only for picks, but it's to load up on picks for the next couple of
Uh,
years, right? Who knows? He's got to jettison some cap space, right? So that could be one scenario. Or the other scenario is what you described, right? Just create a competitive camp. If they don't work out, they don't work out, and we're okay, right? So, but I have enough confidence in him that he's got a plan, and that plan includes Ovi coming back, and he's got a contract, ready because he already knows kind of what Obi wants, right? And
yeah,
so I pretty much trust that and trust the process and trust that some
yeah.
time in the next 30 days they're going to make an announcement on Ovi.
Mhm.
And my suspicion is that it probably is a capitals friendly contract, right?
One thing
Uh,
I'll add, I want to ask you a question.
sure.
If Alex Ovechkin doesn't come back, how good is this hockey team?
So I mean, I think from an inspiration perspective, I think if Alex comes back, this team is highly motivated, highly inspired, and has all of the all the potential to actually to make a deep run in the playoffs, and potentially go for a cup. Okay, if Ovi does not come back, I think it's a team that makes the playoffs. I just don't know how far they can go. Okay. I think Alex being here is just from an emotional perspective is huge. He's your captain. He's going to have a lot of, leadership in the room. And he's, people are going to be excited him passing Gretzky's, overall goal record. And they're just going to be excited. I mean, I'm excited just to have this many new players,
Hmm.
Kyrou and Tuck and Jenner and Desjardins or whatever, however you pronounce that.
You
But
definitely were really, really wrong. But let me see.
yeah,
Descharnes.
but Desjardins. Descharnes. But I mean, I'm just going to be excited for that. I mean, just to go into a camp with that many new players
It's
and just,
exciting.
you know, again, players that may have had bad, off years last year. Can we bring them up to better
Yeah.
years this year, like a Kyrou or a Jenner? I mean, that's the thing that gets exciting. And so, yeah, either way, I would really be hyped up about this team because there's so many new
Yeah.
players, right? And so many new dynamics. But if Ovi comes back, I
New
think the issue,
jerseys to buy, new numbers. It's fun. It's exciting. It's fun to see new
yeah,
players. Also to see all these players who wanted to play for the Capitals. Kyrou
absolutely,
wanted to play for the
absolutely.
Capitals. Jenner
Yeah.
wanted to play. Tuck wanted to come here. Descharnes obviously wanted to come here.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, that shows
Yeah.
like Sammy said it when she was on the show. People want to play here.
People want, yeah.
And we've
Yeah.
seen that now, and that's great to see. I also know a lot of people don't really love Chris Patrick, and I get it. There are definitely reasons I don't love him either, but I mean, he's doing what we wanted. He's putting a
Yeah.
team
Yeah.
together that's
Yeah.
gonna go out and compete next year and be a playoff team and be better than
Right.
they were. And oh, what were we all complaining about? Where's our top six winger? Got it. Got two.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like he's doing everything he's saying to do. Obviously, you can question the deals, and the Descharnes one is, I think, the biggest question mark we have. But Chris Patrick has made this hockey team better and lived up to what he said he's going to do multiple times. Said in free agency, forward and defenseman, went and got it. Said, we were going to go and get our top six winger. We got two. So, like, he's backed it up. And I got to say, it was a
Yeah.
very, very good
Right.
couple 2 weeks or even a week. I don't even know. It's been crazy.
Right. And the other thing I was just going to say is, again, I think, remember Alex Ovechkin's personality is larger than life, right? It's impossible to replace that in some ways, right? But one of the things that they've done really, really well is basically shape a post Ovi era with a strong set of people in that locker room,
Mhm.
right? Tom Wilson,
Good
Bruce
characters.
Jenner, Alex Tuck, Pierre-Luc Dubois, Cairo. I mean, really great personalities and characters, and that's ultimately, I think, what really gets you excited is he's retooled this team to continue to be a contender, but also be a team that plays a great style of hockey. I'm excited about having these
Well, I
beasts
also
on the
think
ice,
this is
these big
Carberry's
guys.
style. This is
It's a
Carberry's
Carberry
style.
style.
Get
Oh,
the right
absolutely.
guys, get the pieces that he likes to play his style of hockey,
Right.
and I
Hmm.
think that's what they went out and did. And
Right.
one thing I do have faith in the Capitals for is bringing
Right.
guys in and getting them to their potential.
Right.
Like I think they're very good at that. Obviously, you
Yeah.
can't control guys getting older and down and those downward spirals, but we've seen it multiple times with multiple players just in the past year or two. These guys found new life with Washington, and Spencer Carberry helped them find their best hockey. So, and
Right.
I have faith in that to happen again. Well, so that's kind of the rundown of free agency. It's been interesting already, and um, the Caps may make more trades, like my dad said, to open cap space. Signings wise, I would assume we're done. If we're not, I'm going to be even more confused. But also, we wanted to recap kind of the draft, which we'll do here pretty quickly. Oliver Savanto, who was kind of my favorite prospect, was
Good
the
call.
first. Hey,
Good
thank you,
call.
thank you. Did not think that would go.
Very
Um,
good call.
Oliver Savanto, I just really loved his comparisons. What scouts said about him, I thought was, why would you pass that up?
Amazing. Right.
And because being compared to Alexander, the best 17-year-old center in the top league in Finland since Alexander Barkov. I like
Right.
that. I'm glad
Yeah.
we took that. So
Right.
Savanto, 6'3" center, 213, has a physical game compared to Alexander Barkov, Anton Lindell. I like it a lot. He's not a flashy player, but he's a great two-way and probably more that second, third line tier one day. But
Mhm.
obviously can advance his ceiling, being only 17 years old, expand on that offensive package. He's got great defensive habits. He's very mature for his age. With that big body, can protect the puck. Um, just the offense is
Yeah.
kind of the
He and
question
right.
as
And
far as what he can do.
he yeah, he even acknowledged that kind of in his interviews, that was where he was hoping to really grow in the next year. But yeah, I mean, the thing that I kind of laughed at was, he wants to be a player that is tough to play against, right? And that's what you kind of like to hear. So
Well, and
that was
Barkov was his idol.
yeah, yeah. No. I mean, definitely great selection. Glad he was there at that pick, 18, because I thought it was possible he could have gone earlier. And then,
You had a lot of
I
guys
mean,
jumping up too. There were a lot of
yeah.
guys that
And
we thought weren't like Ryan Lynn was available when we were picking, which some people were mad we didn't do that, but
Mhm.
which
Right,
that like a lot of guys were kind of jumping up, jumping down, and Savanto
right,
just was there.
right. And again, we only had that first round pick until the fourth round. So, this was kind of a different draft year for us. I think we got some really good players at fourth. I think it's fourth, sixth, and seventh, or fourth, fifth, and seventh. I can't remember which ones. Um, but Tyrus Schruck or Shuck.
Tyus Sparks. I'll go through the
Tyus.
picks. Just
Oh my gosh.
names
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
hard. Names are
Please,
hard.
please do that.
Tyus Sparks,
Yep.
101st overall. Brian
Okay. Fourth.
McFadden, 144th overall, and Logan
Right.
Thorpe, 208th
Right.
overall.
Right. And Tyrus, I think, is basically a
Tyus,
center.
no R.
Tyus, sorry. Tyus is a center. And from what I heard, it has a really wicked shot. very quick. And they showed that a little bit in the development videos that I saw uh, from yesterday and today. And then you've got Brian McFadden, who's about a 6'5", 190 right now, 195 pound defenseman. That probably will percolate for 2 or 3 years, in the system before he's ready to come up.
Well, probably
And
before
then
he's ready to come to like the AHL. You have to remember these are late round picks. The chances these guys get to the
right.
NHL
Yeah,
aren't
yeah, I
high.
know. Right,
So
right.
like that's just something to
Well, and
remember when we go through.
and
Savanto
I
obviously is a guy we expect to be here in 2 to 3
right,
years.
right.
I will say something just to note on Tyus Sparks. They traded up to get him.
Yes, correct.
Obviously, that shows
They
there
wanted
was a
they wanted him. Yep.
real spark
Right.
with him. That no pun
They
intended.
wanted him. Yep.
Um,
They
so
wanted him.
there's obviously they wanted him. They saw something in him.
Right.
They really like him. So that's a
Right.
great thing because we have a good scouting team. Like we got Cole
Right.
Hudson in the second round. We got
Right.
Protis in the
Right.
third. And I mean, um, we're good at
And
doing.
and just and just to go back to,
And
again,
yeah,
you won't see this, but if you look at Deschanais, Deschanais,
it could be.
he's a he's a seventh round pick.
Yeah.
He was a seventh he was a seventh round pick. So I mean that's why I say, you got to kind of look at some of these guys, and if they've got a particular profile, they might be fifth or sixth round, but if they work themselves into the lineup, you're not really surprised, because if you put the hard work in, you're going to get there. That might be a little bit easier, with size and heft and all those other kinds of things, or intangibles. But I think our seventh round pick was Logan
That was
Logan.
Logan Stewart. And also,
Yeah,
I
and
do
then
want to say, I just need to say this. You were right. I was wrong. It's Desharnais.
oh, it is Desharnais.
Desharnais. So no, even the SH isn't even there. And yeah, it's
Okay,
no Naeus or anything. Desharnais, which,
Desharnais.
so I apologize to him, even though he'll never watch this in a million years. But yeah, I was totally wrong. I corrected you
Okay.
earlier. Completely wrong. Um, but yeah, so apologies for getting that wrong, but to be honest, we kind of usually wait until Joe B says it, and then that's what we'll go with after that.
That's right.
So that's usually the the way we work. Um, but yeah, and then you get, some solid guys late like McFadden and Stewart who um may be able to get up there and shock people, but that's kind of what, they'll have to do. McFadden, like you said, big guy, physical game, kind of has those tools, but needs to develop as a player.
Okay.
Stewart, uh, kind of a depth center. Um, he would kind of a project, I would say, like if he can really,
Well,
build
I
up
think he's
and
going to I think he's going to Denver, University of Denver, and he's a
yeah.
U.S. National Development player.
He isn't, yeah, he's
So
definitely a national development player. I'm gonna check the
I think
Denver
it
part
was,
just to check, make sure.
yeah.
Um,
Um, so I mean that I was kind of impressed that he was part of the National Development Program, and that's a good path for a lot of players. And
well,
then obviously,
especially since like what we're seeing with Cole Caulfield and
right,
Jack Hughes, Quinn Hughes, like they all came up in that, and
right,
USA Hockey's probably in the best spot it's ever been. It
right.
says here on Puckpedia he's playing at for the Lethbridge Hurricanes in the WHL next year.
Okay, I think I thought he was committed to. I thought I saw something about Denver, University of Denver, but maybe not.
I'm searching just to check. Well, here's Logan Stewart select. Um, well, I'll keep looking at this.
Yeah, if I'm wrong, I
Yeah,
apologize.
I don't see anything on
Okay.
on that, but we look at so many prospects and so many people and
Mhm.
so many
Right.
like, and Ryan Lynn was committed to Denver, so maybe you're thinking that.
Hmm. Okay. I might have
Um,
been. I've
but
been mistaken.
yeah, but yeah, I mean, depth guy. When you get to those later rounds, it's kind of like, all right, cool. Let's see what
Right.
happens.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think the two guys you
Never-
actually want to like, Savanto obviously is that like, all
Right.
right, that's the guy we're looking at. And then I do like Tyus Sparks, very fast energy guy.
Mhm.
I like think he could be like just a Frank kind of Ethan Frank type.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
Very good.
Absolutely.
Like
Yeah.
eventually become a
Right.
really good offensive player, maybe AHL level, and then be
Right.
that third or fourth liner, with a lot of speed and forechecking, and a good motor. So I think that's kind of what he can do. But yeah, and so yeah, they're at development camp. And just before we wrap this up, Lyndon Lakovic is he skated in a non-contact jersey. Savanto's been out there, Sparks, all those guys. Um, Parasek, who kind of said he's excited to show what he has and maybe surprise people and make them make some tough decisions, which is
Mhm.
good. So, and Dad, you'll be getting to watch a little bit, right?
Development camps doing 3-on-3 scrimmages on Friday morning from 8:30 to 10 a.m. And I think the 15 of the 24 attendees are actually in our system. 9 of them are kind of free agent invites. And so Lykovich is going to be at Hershey. Parasek is going to be at Hershey. So, I'm kind of interested to see where some of those guys are slotting. Obviously, the Oliver Savanto and some of that stuff. I want to see how he looks based on what I saw skating wise. The other thing you realize is that like I can't remember the name of the skating coach. Her name is Wendy. I can't remember her last name, but some of the skate drills they've just never done in their life.
And
So
those
it is
suck.
interesting.
Those
Yeah, it is.
one-footed edge work
Yeah,
things suck.
yeah, yeah. And it's always interesting to kind of see the prospects, doing those drills and stuff like that. And
Wendy
then,
Marco.
you know, Wendy Marco, yeah, and just from what I've heard, really, really good and good with the prospects, and they've done great things with many of our prospects becoming faster and faster every year, which I think is terrific. But they're doing drills on the ice about how to stay on your feet with contact and stuff like that. So it's really interesting to see some of the drills that they're doing, and I think the 3-on-3 will be very interesting. So I'm looking forward to that, and I guess in some ways too, I'm just looking forward to getting to the buzz of the rink. I mean,
Yeah.
we've never been in a position where we've made this many deals in like 2 or 3 weeks, right? So I think there's just a certain amount of enthusiasm that I'm kind of excited to go to the rink and see what that feels like.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's always, especially like it just all hit, obviously you get trades coming in really active before the deadline this year. Then you draft, then free agents. It's really just all kind of hit. And now you got development camp. So hockey, is just on the brain for the people who actually track this all summer, like
Mhm.
us. And so, yeah, no, it's really exciting. We'll be excited to get kind of your takeaways, getting to see it firsthand. And that will kind of be all for today. So, please leave a comment, like, subscribe. We'd love to hear from you. Any questions, any concerns? Definitely want to
Any any
engage.
insights?
But yeah,
Any
insights,
insight?
engage. We're not the smartest people. We kind of know what's going on, but like there's definitely things we miss. So yeah, love to hear from you guys and appreciate all the support. So we're gonna wrap it up here and we will see you next time.